Okay, good afternoon. We're going to start. I know that some of us need to leave a little bit earlier. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Mauricio?
Commissioner Stuyvesant? Commissioner Viscara?
Here.
Commissioner Joseph is not here yet. Vice Mayor Lama?
Here.
Mayor Svetchin?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, and as I understand, 2A, we're taking off because Senator Pizzo is not going to be here.
Yes.
We're going to start with 2B, but right after, we're going to go to 2E, so Commissioner Viscara.
Thank you, and also, I need to add like a 1-minute item, which is House Bill 301.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, the first item is 2B, a posthumous service recognition for former employee Susie Hooks.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the Commission, this item is in memory and remembrance of our long-term employee, Susie Hooks, who was one of our best bus drivers that we've had here. Many of you know her, as well as our employees. Her family is here, and you know, sometimes with these things, it's I think less is best said because it's very difficult for all of us, but I, especially as a manager, always appreciated working with Susie, one of the employees that I never had any problems with over the 13 years that I've been here. Just one of the nicest people to deal with, professional, loved her job and what she did. So as part of this, we wanted to first recognize, I'm going to ask everyone to come up together when I present these plaques, but we had 2 employees in particular that really assisted and tried to help with efforts to save Susie, and that is Louis Ortiz and Yatai Moore. And if you guys would come up, I just want to read from the plaques that we have for you. These fellow employees of Susie Hooks, and the plaque states it's a certificate of appreciation for your extraordinary courage, quick thinking, and selflessness in assisting with life-saving efforts. Your dedication exemplifies the highest standards of the city of Sunny Isles Beach. So we wanted to thank you in your efforts. And then I would also like for Susie Hooks' family, if you could come forward so I can read our plaque. Thank you for being here. And I just wanted to read, we're going to present this to you, but it states, in memory of Susie Hooks, dedicated to our dear friend and shuttle bus driver, Susie Hooks, who exemplified hard work, integrity, and kindness during her 17 years of service. She will be greatly missed and forever in our hearts. So we wanted to present this to you, and we also have a duplicate of this plaque that's going to be on the 4th floor in the conference area for myself and the elected officials. Remember her. So I'm going to have Maya and if I could ask the mayor and commissioners to come down, please.
Okay, Commissioner Viscar, your next item?
Doesn't Mauricio have to?
Yeah.
So the next thing.
Okay, the next item is 2E, a proclamation presented for Black History Month.
Thank you. So this is Black History Month. we have a proclamation. The intention was to present it to Congresswoman Frederica Wilson, who represents us, but she couldn't make it today, so I'll just read through it, and then we'll formally present it to her when schedules allow. Whereas Black History Month is a time to celebrate and recognize the achievements and contributions of African Americans to our nation's history, culture, and society. And the legacy of African Americans has been one of strength, resilience, perseverance in the face of oppression, discrimination, and systemic racism. And whereas Black History Month is an opportunity to highlight the accomplishments and milestones of African Americans in all areas of American life, including the arts, sciences, politics, business, and civil rights. And whereas the struggle for racial equality and social justice is ongoing, and Black History Month provides a platform to promote understanding and dialogue on the issues of facing the African American community. And Black History Month is a reminder that the history of our nation is intertwined with the history of African Americans, and that their contributions have played a critical role in shaping the course of our country. Black History Month recognizes the sacrifices and hardships endured by African Americans in their pursuit of freedom, justice, and equality, and honors the legacy of those who have fought and continue to fight for these ideals. Black History Month is a time for reflection, education, and action to address the ongoing racial disparities and promote equity and inclusion in our society. Black History Month provides an opportunity for all Americans to celebrate and learn from the rich and diverse heritage of African Americans, and to work together to build a more just and equitable society. Each year, the Association for the Study of African American Life and History sets a theme for Black History Month, and the theme for 2025 is African Americans and Labor. And whereas the year's theme highlights the significant role that Black people have played in the labor force, both as enslaved people and as paid and unpaid workers. And the city of Sunny Isles Beach encourages all people, regardless of race, nationality, or creed, to celebrate the Black heritage and recognize the contributions Black Americans have made in our society. So thank you. No, go ahead. Okay. So we'll be presenting this again to Congresswoman Frederica Wilson when opportunity allows.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll do that. And then may I go to the next one?
The next item on the agenda is item 2D, proclamation presented for colorectal cancer awareness month.
No, we were going to
I need
let
to
Commissioner
do my
Viscar's
add-on.
item
Oh,
go
okay,
ahead.
I'm so
She has
sorry.
to
Yes,
leave.
your add-on.
Thank you.
So I'll let you do your thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so this is just as an add-on. The legislative session has just begun. I mean, actually, it hasn't begun yet, but the bills are getting filed, and we have a familiar one coming back, which is a sovereign immunity one. This year, it's HB 301. It basically increases the amount at which the government can be sued. This time, the opening bid, if you will, it's basically increasing one kind of suit by 5 times, which is for the individual, and for the incident by 10 times. So we're opposing that. I'll be asking for an add-on at the 6:30, but I just wanted you to know where I was coming from, and it's part of the home rule, so it falls within our legislative priorities that we've already approved. But we don't have, we can reuse the resolution from last year, but I don't have it.
Okay,
Because it just came up.
thank you.
So that's it for me, and I'm sorry, but I have to make an early exit.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner
Thank you.
Scar. Okay. Mauricio, now, we're at 2C. Yeah, we made a change in the beginning of the meeting.
Okay. 2C is a proclamation presented for Gil Deezer.
Okay. Someone from the organization here? Yes, okay. This is a proclamation that I'm sponsoring, and it's interesting, before I start, I don't know if our residents were aware, President Trump was in town yesterday, he might still be here, in town meeting South Florida, and during his speech, he actually acknowledged Sunny Isles Beach and the work that he's done here in partnership with Gil Deezer, so that was a nice plug for our city. The proclamation, whereas Gil Deezer, president of Desert Development, has been one of the visionaries in transforming the skyline of the city of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, through innovative and luxurious real estate developments, and whereas under his leadership, Desert Development has completed 9 luxury high-rise residential and condo hotel towers in Sunny Isles Beach, including notable projects such as the Porsche Design Tower, the residences of Armani Casa, and 6 Trump-branded towers, significantly enhancing the city's appeal as a premier destination. And whereas Gil Deezer's commitment to innovation is exemplified by the introduction of the patented Deezervator, a revolutionary car elevator system that allows residents to transport their vehicles directly into their private sky garages, seamlessly integrating automotive passion with luxury living. And whereas his philanthropic endeavors include being one of the founding members of the Mount Sinai Medical Center Foundation, serving as a young president of the Miami Heart Institute, member of the Florida Friends of Israeli Defense Forces, member of the One Family Fund organization, and contributions to the Norman S. Edelcup Sunny Isles Beach K-8 School, demonstrating his dedication to the education and well-being of the broader community. And now, whereas do I, Larissa Svetchin, as mayor on behalf of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, hereby proclaim Saturday, March 1st, 2005 as Gil Deezer Day in the City of Sunny Isles Beach. And I think we have someone from the organization that is here to accept it. So we'll just hand it to you, and we can, since they're not here, we'll take a picture at a different time if that's okay. All right, do we have? Okay. Mauricio, next item.
Next item is 2D, proclamation presented for Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month.
Okay. This one is mine. It's another one where we're going to present this at a different time at the Miami-Dade League of Cities. Meet Bloom, Commissioner and Aventura, who asked that we sponsor this, is at another event, so prevented her from being here. Whereas colorectal cancer is the second leading cause of cancer deaths in the United States among men and women combined, and whereas colorectal cancer is one of the few cancers that can be prevented with timely screening, but 1 in 3 eligible Americans are not up to date on screening. It is projected to be the leading cause of death among cancer patients aged 20 to 49 by 2030. Black Americans are 20% more likely to be diagnosed and about 40% more likely to die from the disease than other groups. It's expected to account for 11% of cancer deaths among Hispanic men and 9% of cancer deaths for Hispanic women. Screening colonoscopy rates have still not returned to pre-COVID-19 levels, and the national goal established by the National Colorectal Cancer Roundtable is to strive to increase timely cancer screening rates to 80% in every community for all Americans eligible for screening. Whereas education, advocacy, and awareness are critical in reducing the incidence and impact of this cancer on individuals and their families. and observing Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month during the month of March would provide a special opportunity to increase awareness and offer education on the importance of early detection and screening. Now, therefore, do I, Larissa Svechin, as mayor and on behalf of the City of Commission of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, hereby proclaim the month of March 2025 as Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Sunny Isles Beach. This is especially poignant for us as our colleague from Aventura, Commissioner Michael, passed away from this cancer. I don't know if anybody from the commission wanted to say anything. No?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that I dearly remember Michael Stern. He championed this cause. He actually went to Washington, spoke before Congress about the issue, and unfortunately, he is in his next phase of life. He's not with us in Earth, but we dearly remember him for the great person he is. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mauricio, next item.
I'd
Next
just like to say
Oh,
one
sure,
thing.
please go
Yes.
ahead.
And last year, this was actually my proclamation that I submitted for Michael, and sad with his passing, but it just leads us to know that everyone needs to be proactive regarding their health.
Next item is 2F, proclamation presented for Flood Awareness Month. The lead official.
Dylan? We have Dylan? Oh. Did you all want to say something, or I just read the proclamation? It's up to you. No pressure.
This is our first proclamation, but it won't be our last, so we're
Okay.
glad to be here. And we're both floodplain managers, and we're always looking out to make sure the city's following all the ordinances.
All right, so then I'll read it, and then we'll go down and take a picture with you all. Whereas the City of Sunny Isles Beach has experienced severe weather in the past in the form of extreme rainfall or tropical system events resulting in flooding in coastal areas, and this flooding has caused damage and flood losses to homes and buildings in all areas, whether they are high-risk special flood hazard areas or low to moderate risk flood zones. And the city is a voluntary participant in a national flood insurance program that provides residents with the opportunity to protect themselves against flood loss through the purchase of flood insurance at reduced insurance premium rates, as well as setting higher regulatory standards to reduce the flood risk and potential flood damage to their property. And whereas the reduction of loss of life and property damage can be achieved when appropriate flood preparedness, control, and mitigation measures are taken before a flood. And whereas public education and awareness of potential weather hazards and methods of protection are critical to the health, safety, and welfare of residents, the Florida Floodplain Managers Association have declared the week of March 3rd through the 9th, 2025 as Flood Awareness Week to promote awareness and increase knowledge of flood risk, the availability of flood insurance, flood protection methods, and how to prepare for emergencies. And now, therefore, do I, Larissa Svechin, as mayor, and on behalf of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, hereby proclaim March 3rd through March 9th, 2025 as Flood Awareness Week in the City of Sunny Isles Beach. We'll come down and take a picture.
Okay.
All Mauricio, we are now at discussion items, correct?
Okay, we're in discussion items. 3A, interlocal agreements with Miami-Dade County regarding speed limits.
Great, thank you.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission, at the January meeting, we had 3 interlocal agreements with Miami-Dade County Department of Transit and Public Works. And the result of that was that you wanted to speak to them directly and get some more information. So this afternoon, we have with us Miguel, Yamalet, and Sumen. Did I say that right? Come on in, please.
Good afternoon to everyone,
Good
to the
afternoon.
chamber. My name is Miguel Soria. I work with Miami-Dade County. I'm with the assistant director over the traffic engineering division. Ms. Yamiles
Good
Espleda.
afternoon. I'm Jamila Espleda. I'm the chief of the Traffic Engineering Division.
Okay, thank you. I think that Commissioner Joseph had a lot of questions. Do you want to start?
Well, we have since, I believe, 2005, we've had 20-mile-an-hour postings in Sunny Isles, which has never come under any objection from Miami-Dade until now. So why would that be? For 20 years, we're in good standing regarding all of our signage, and then all of a sudden, we're under review and scrutiny, and we're being obliged to change and raise our speed limit.
So, Commissioner, it is my understanding, I'm with the county since 2018. It is my understanding that even before my time, there were conversations with previous city staff about the 20 mile per hour speed limit signs. So in Florida, the statutory speed limit is 30 mile per hour, but the county has several municipalities that have entered into interlocal agreements with the county to have in local residential streets 25 mile per hour. So, and this has been the latest discussion with the city staff to go through the same process, and the city has already done that. The study, the agreement is in the works to allow the city to have the 25. The city of Miami has it, city of Coral Gables, city of Doral, several municipalities have done the same thing.
Okay. Now,
The
in
issue
Key
is-
Biscayne as well?
Yeah,
Key
yeah,
Biscayne
several
as well?
municipalities, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But the issue
Now-
here, sir, is
Yes.
To try to maintain consistency throughout all the cities within Miami-Dade County. It would be an issue if we would have one city at a 20, another at a 25, another at a 30. So the concept here is to maintain the consistency throughout the county and throughout the cities.
Well,
So the lower speeds that we're trying to maintain throughout the cities is a 25 mile per hour.
No, I understand, but in that regard, let's say if you're driving, let's say down Interstate 95, and you come through all these small towns, let's say in Georgia, you know, maybe you've done that in the past where they have all these speed zones and, you know, speed traps. So, or anywhere else, maybe in Florida as well, where all of a sudden you're doing 45 and then all of a sudden you hit a town and it drops down to 20,
Correct.
okay?
That is the issue. That is the issue. We don't want to
Yeah.
see a 30
Well-
in one city and a 20 in another.
I understand. But within our city, we have our own issues that maybe the county is not aware of. We have a tremendous issue with scooters and bikes and children that are not being supervised correctly by their parents, that do not adhere to traffic signals. And by your causing us to raise our speed limits, which now we have an issue, 5 miles an hour is a big difference when you have all of these unregulated scooters and all speeding and zipping through our streets. We're going to, if you cause us to do this, we're going to have an incident that the county, I guess, because you're causing us to make this change, would have to take responsibility for.
So
Well-
there is, I'm sorry, there is no increase in the speed limit at this point because the 20 mile per hours that are posted right now in the city are not approved from the county. There is no approval in records. So what is being done now is reducing the speed limit, okay? From the statutory, that is 30, to 25 mile per hour citywide. So in
Yes.
addition to that, the study that we engineers, we go by United States, the Federal Highway Administration standards, right? So we need to follow those standards. When the engineering record prepare the study, they have to follow the speed zone manual from FDOT, and that requires that when the speed readings, when you collect the speed data, the 85 percentile speed readings need to deviate between 4 and 8 miles per hour. So from there, you can understand what is the speed limit that you can have posted. So based on those results, the speed limit should be 25, not 20.
Okay, so let me ask you, please. When was the last time you did an interior street speed study in Sunny Isles?
We as a county, no,
Yes,
we have
never,
not.
right?
No, we have for
Yes.
independent studies that if you want the record, we can
So,
for sure
well,
provide
do you
that
happen
to
to know
you.
offhand when that might have been?
I'm
20 years
sorry?
ago?
I'm
How
sorry.
Do you happen to know how long ago that might have been?
I don't know. We need to search the records because usually when the municipalities request a study from us, meaning installation of an all-way stop or installation of a signal, those type of requests, traffic related, we do studies.
Right.
However, if it's a municipality that has interlocal agreement to install traffic calming devices, meaning speed tables, runabouts, etc., we don't do those studies because that's for the municipality
Right.
to do when they
I
have
understand.
the agreement.
Now, your interlocal agreement is being shoved down our throat. We don't particularly agree with it because we have a particular issue that maybe other cities don't have or they're not addressing it like we are. And we know that it's only a matter of time if you go up 5 miles, even though you're saying this is a reduction from 30 to 25,
Correct.
for us, it's an increase, okay?
Yeah.
You can recognize it or not, but right now, we have our signage that residents adhere to as 20. So you're asking us, and we're going to have cars going faster on our streets. That's our issue. And we have scooters and children in the streets. A lot of our interior streets do not have sidewalks. So we have people walking on the streets, okay, at night, during the day, okay? There's going to be a problem where someone gets killed because of these increased speeds. So this county has to understand that and take responsibility for the future, if that's what you cause us to do.
With regards to the responsibility, I think nobody wants to have any issues with respect to safety and a person's life at risk, right? We always try to do what's the safest that we can as engineers and in general. But there are several studies, sir, that have been conducted not only in Miami-Dade County or throughout the country, where a 25 mile per hour speed is a very safe speed. There is no major advantage between a 20 and a 25. The 85 percentile that Ms. Enespreda has referring to has identified that the average speed, irrelevant to whether it's 20 or 30, is 25. So that would, even if you mark it at 20, people are still going to go at 25 or greater. So there are no major advantages to bringing it down to 20.
Okay.
What is very important, though, is to make sure that there is an educational process with respect to the scooters and respect to even those parents that you mentioned that are having certain issues with respect to, to traffic and how those impacts. There has to be some type of educational and even enforcement that supports these changes.
Combined with the traffic calming, because usually those municipalities that have in place the 24 mile per hour speed limit on local roads, they also have the agreement for traffic calming. So they have installed traffic calming and most of the residential streets combined with the 25 mile per hour, and so far it's working well.
Okay, so
And,
for,
and the interlocal agreement, if I may add, is a consistent agreement with within all the cities. It's not one specific to another. The 25 mile per hour is consistent. The interlocal agreement allows the city certain traffic calming measures that the city has with studies and can recommend and implement themselves.
So
Can I
these
just,
studies-
Commissioner
sorry.
Joseph, wait a second, because I want to make sure everyone gets a chance
Yes,
to
but I'm,
say. One moment, please.
still
I
have the
just,
floor.
for clarification, because you've mentioned it a few times, there are other cities that have 20 miles per hour currently.
25.
Miami Springs has 20 miles per hour.
No, no.
The,
That-
the mayor confirmed it and said that
No,
they have
those-
interior.
No, that was apparently, we have been searching all the records, and apparently at the time, the runabout project and Curtis Parkway, at that time, a speed approaching the runabouts were 20 miles per hour, so like advisory speed, but those are not regulatory speed on all roads. So that was specific to that project.
Now, my question is, are there other cities that have signage of 20 miles per hour?
Not regulatory.
Not that we have records of it or
you can-
approval.
Well, because I have confirmation that there are. That's why I think that what's part of our frustration and confusion is that it seems that you were saying you want to keep it consistent, but it seems that it's not. So I'll just hold off because I want to let Commissioner Joseph finish, and then I want to move on to
Thank you.
Commissioner Stavis.
If I may, please, just
Sure.
a second. It's possible that a city may have a 25 mile per hour posted, but it would not be.
20.
20
Right.
posted, but it is not permitted by us. And Miami-Dade County does have full jurisdiction over traffic operations for the entire county. So we would not allow a 20 mile per hour, similarly to what the situation that we're having here. If they do, one of the things that we would ask of that city as well is to regulate that at 25.
Okay. Commissioner Joseph, finish up, please,
yes,
and then
thank you.
Commissioner
Yes, I only have a
Stavis.
couple of more
Go ahead.
statements. So when you gauge your traffic studies, what is it that you take into account on interior streets? Do you match apples to apples? Do you consider streets that have sidewalks and streets that don't have sidewalks? Because that's not if you're gauging your 25 miles an hour on interior streets that have sidewalks as opposed to streets that don't have sidewalks, that's not a fair assessment.
So the study was done by a city consultant, the engineer. Can you? I'm not gonna. So who picked the locations was the engineer working for the city. And we shared this study with all
And it
of
was
you.
done in
So,
24.
so there was a previous study done in 2018, 22, and then this is a revised, yeah. Thank you, Ann. Okay, so the locations we have 191st Terrace, between North Bay Road and Atlantic Boulevard. We have 191st Street between North Bay Road, Atlantic Boulevard, 190th Street between North Bay Road, Atlantic Boulevard, 189 Terrace. I mean, we have like a
Okay.
lot of
So,
locations.
okay, so those 189 Terrace, those do not have sidewalks. So you're gauging streets that you just mentioned, streets that have sidewalks against streets that don't have sidewalks. How do you, within your agency, you treat those the same?
Yes, for
A
in
street
terms
with
of
sidewalks
speed,
and a street without sidewalks,
in
you
terms
treat
of
the same
speed,
as far as safety?
yes, in terms of speed, yes. In terms of traffic calming, that's a different type of evaluation.
How can you treat a street like that where are no sidewalks and people would be walking in the street? How can you treat them the same?
These are all local, they're all like classified as local streets. Now, the majority of local streets don't have sidewalks. What we classify is the average speed throughout the
Yeah.
area, that 85 percentile. That is what we look at to identify the actual posted speed.
Okay, so if I may
Yes,
add,
please,
okay?
allow
Okay,
Commissioner Stavis.
first of all, the direction that we gave to the staff, it was to make, maybe it's happening, but you guys need to explain this to the public. We need to do a workshop to explain to the public what is it that the county want to accomplish. Having said that, Florida Statute 316183 says, with respect to a residential district or county or municipality, they may set a maximum speed limit of 20 or 20 miles per hour on local streets and highways after an investigation determines that such a limit is reasonable.
Yeah, which this is the investigation,
Yes.
and the investigation
Maximum.
shows
That
that it's
is-
25.
Okay, Florida Statute 316183. So I'm so happy that you are making reference to the investigation because I gave you a copy there. Page 17, you guys have a copy as well, and I make it easy, so I highlight it, okay? So there are two approaches to decide what is the recommendation, right? You were talking about the engineering approach and the 4 to 8 miles per hour, etc. However, there is another approach, which is the expert system approach. And that system includes input into the program, includes surrounding development, access point, road function, road characteristics, vehicle opening speeds, pedestrian activity, and more. That study that you have there, a copy, says that in 191, the speed limit that is recommended, 20 miles per hour. 191, the other corridor, 20 miles. all of them 20 except for Atlantic Isle, that the recommendation was 25 miles per hour. That is page 18. So probably you are very familiar with this.
Yep.
So I said the recommended posted speed limits are the result of the analysis of speed data, sample on whenever. The expert system approach supports a 20 mile per hour speed limit along 10 corridors segments and 25 along one corridor segment. And when you go to the appendix E, it goes one by one. And it says all of them at the bottom recommended speed limit 20, 20, 20, 20. But also, it says about the traffic information. And it's very interesting that you guys are deciding to get the 85 percentile. So 85% of the vehicles, like you said, are going above that 25. So it seems that we are trying to accommodate whoever wants to speed. Instead of going with the 50%, which will make a little more sense, we are deciding to go 85 because it's the data that is going to support whatever it is that you guys are trying to accomplish. Now, also the speed limits report and speed zoning report, each and one of every corridor that was studied, you have the copy there, it says traffic information, pedestrian bicycle activity high, 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 all of them. And when you, I know about consistency, and I agree, we want that, but you need to take in consideration also the culture of every municipality that you're going to be affecting. In our case, the majority of, we only have one school in Sunny Isles, and it's not a regular school with 200 or 300 students. We have over 2,000 people in and out from that school every single day between students and staff, and it's fluctuating, okay? So, and the majority, like you guys know, we are in a 1.5 square miles municipality. Most of the people go to the school either walking, bicycle, scooter, electrical scooters, you name it. So we are a very high pedestrian city, like most people are. And one of the reasons that a lot of people is here is because of that. One thing to consider is that we have a lot of residents that they have different status, you know, migration status, and they cannot drive. So they are walking and they're using public transportation, etc. Again, that's one of the beauties of Sunny Isles Beach, that you can walk everywhere and that you have all the services that you need in the city. So like Commissioner Joseph was saying, the areas that you studied don't have sidewalks. And there is high concentration of vehicles and pedestrians. We had fatalities here in our city, including children fatalities. And we don't want to see that happening ever again. And I agree probably that you guys don't want to see that either. But the study is recommending 20 miles per hour. The Florida statute is recommending, is allowing us to do that as well. So it is an increase because we have 20 miles per hour since the incorporation of the city. I also, when I was doing my research, I found out, and it was pointed out by one of the residents actually, that one of our county commissioners brought this to the attention of the county commission last year, in 2024. And they gave the direction to study all the local corridors to go to at least 25 miles per hour. And some of the language, it says that they are pushing a resolution that involves a reduction of the speed limits to 25 from 30 on all county maintained residential roads, as well as roads adjacent to parks and recreational centers, etc. So you guys are aware of that?
We're working on that.
Okay, exactly. So I do believe that the spirit of the resolution of our commissioner was to, which is actually our county commissioner, but another very good commissioner, Commissioner Cabrera. I believe that the spirit of his resolution was to reduce the speed limits in the residential and local areas, correct? And next to the parks, the school, etc. And what was the reason of that, if I can speculate, is because of the amount and quantity of accidents that had happened and fatalities.
It's not, it's also a nationwide study that
You can just speak
identified-
closer to the microphone, please.
It's also a nationwide study, and we agree with you. The 25 mile per hour is a safer speed. What we don't agree is with a 20 mile per hour reduction versus another city that has a 25. We need to maintain that consistency, and
There's
this,
no reason
and the
for
85
consistency.
percentile, and the 85 percentile that you are referring to is a criteria that us
That's
as engineers.
nationwide. That's nationwide for us engineers.
Yeah.
Same thing, a doctor can tell you that they order antibiotics for such and such things, and engineering, we go by the 85 percentile, not the 50.
Yeah,
And also, we go by the FDOT speed manual instead of the other approach that the engineer use it, which is valid to have a comparison, but the one we go by standards is the first one, is the engineering approach.
But by standard,
So-
no, by choice, correct?
No,
Because you have
no,
both.
No, no.
Well, that's
There is-
exactly
there
what
is
it
no-
says
There
here.
is no choice
No.
of opinion. in
No,
that
no.
85.
By a standard, we go by the speed manual, and that was the reason why the first study in 2018 or 2022, I don't remember now, it was disapproved because of using this expert system approach that is not what the county uses. So
By choice, I repeat, because it says
Not by
here,
choice, not by
according
choice.
to the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration, the two most common methods and practices for setting a speed limit, this is nationwide, are the engineering approach and the expert system approach. So
the
in-
one that we use is the engineering
by
approach.
choice, because
not
according to the
choice.
state of
Commissioner
the United
Stuyvesant,
States.
just, we invited them here to hear them
Okay.
as well, so let them just answer, please.
No, okay, so if I may finish, So the thing is that Florida statutes said that we can have 20. The U.S. federal government is okay with this approach, one of the two approach, okay? And so you guys are choosing that because because we want to be consistent. Just the desire to be consistent cannot be what is going to increase our speed limit. It cannot be the reason for.
But it's the desire to be consistent is important.
It's a detriment to some cities.
It's a detriment to.
No,
I'm not-
all
I'm
the
not-
studies that we have reviewed for municipalities
It's all
that
based
right
on the
now
same-
have the 25 is been using the FTOT speed zoning manual, which is our standard. We don't use the other one. So this other one is like software that you can, as an engineer or planner or whoever, you can manipulate the information, you can vary whatever you want to put in there and like tweak or adapt the results to your preference. So,
But
but
the-
this one, but the engineering approach is not. It's like the results are what they are. It's like you cannot play with it.
Well, in that engineering approach is from the data of one day, Wednesday, May 30, 2018, from one day, how many vehicles were passing by that one day. So, oh yes, exactly. So that's
no.
that's the standard of, so you are doing all these changes based on how many vehicles were passing through the streets in one day. So I would believe that the expert system approach, which is used by the nationwide, because I study economics. One thing that we learn is that we learn to manipulate the data to get the approach that we want.
Well, that's not
So,
good.
so that's specifically
but-
what it seems that is happening here. You have
No, that
two.
was the city.
You have two approach. You have
I know, I
two
know.
studies. One is 25. You are choosing to pick that one instead of the other one that says that is 20. That is considering the culture because it's considering the pedestrian activity, etc. So, good luck selling this to the people of Sunny Isles Beach.
Okay, Commissioner Stevison.
And also
wait,
because Sunny Isles is the
Commissioner
most
Joseph.
dense city in
Commissioner
Florida.
Joseph.
Yes.
Vice Mayor, you have the floor.
Hello, thank you for coming here again. What were your name? I know Yamilet, I caught Yamilet, right?
Yes.
Okay, what was your name?
My name's Miguel.
Miguel, okay,
Yes.
nice to meet you. Thank you for coming here. So, yeah, talking a little bit about the city, I'll start with the 30,000, feet view. We need to take into consideration that this city is, I think, the second most densest city in the United States. We have, in a space of 1.8 miles, we have, the census says about 24,000, but I think it's a lot more than that. Just keep in mind, we have more registered properties than people. So I'm sure we have more people than what the census says. So it's an extremely busy city. It's very metropolitan, okay? And that needs to take into account. I understand that you want consistency. I believe in consistency as well, but that's an issue I have. So everything needs to be the same. But when we're talking about streets, if you look at some of our interior streets, they're narrow, okay? You cannot compare to streets perhaps that, if you go to Kendall or you go to Miami Lakes, right? It's not the same. So when we're talking about consistency, the cities are not consistent. I mean, you have different size streets, you have different size sidewalks, you have more activity in certain cities, a lot more pedestrian activity. Here, you feel like you're in a metropolitan area, like I said before. So, having said that, I think that needs to be taken into consideration. And then my question would be, is a very simple question. 20 miles per hour has been working for our interior streets. We feel good about it. Why not keep it that way? Why break it if it's not broken? So, I invite you to perhaps take some drive-alongs with us. We could go walking around the city at different times of the day, so you could understand. I don't know if you've done a walk-through here or a drive-through through our city, but I think it's important to understand we have shopping centers, people are going in and out. And the only request we have is to keep it at 20. I understand that is not within the parameters, whether this report says that or that report says the other. I think the practical solution would be to really take a look at the city and keep it at 20. If it's been working, keep it at 20. It's been working for all these years. The activity and the amount of people and traffic and pedestrians and scooters that you see in the city is crazy. It really is. And the reason why we're so passionate about this is because we've unfortunately had some fatalities, perhaps other cities as well. And there's a lot of pressure on us, and our responsibility is to obviously look after the well-being of our residents. And I don't think, with time, I don't think this is going to improve. More and more people are moving to South Florida. It's becoming a busier and busier area of the country. So I don't think we're going to resolve this issue right now. I was expecting, or I think maybe, I was expecting a standalone workshop where we could invite some of our residents. I think perhaps this was lost, with the agenda. It's a long agenda, and maybe it was buried in there, and the residents did not really take a look at that, or they missed it. So, it would be great if we could continue this conversation with a standalone, workshop. We could invite you here for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. We could do it at our Gateway Center and have some residents in there, and we could probably, go over some more details so you could understand and see the street view of what we're talking about. If you go to some of these streets by the church, I don't know if you drove by there, 178, 177, those streets are narrow. You have parks. We have, what do we have, 18 parks here? Something like that? You have?
12.
Yeah, okay, so, I should know that, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we have more buildings going up, so I ask if we could please have a standalone workshop to continue these discussions, because, what is the issue with leaving it at 20? And then also, there is the question mark about other cities perhaps having, some streets where the speed limit is 20 miles per hour. So I'd like to dig a little bit deeper into that as well.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I know Commissioner Viscar just got here, and I don't know if you wanted to add something, but I do want to say before I give you the floor, Vice Mayor makes a very good point that I think that because we are different than, like all cities are very different, one of the things that just came up as you were speaking is one of the reasons that this 20 miles per hour helps us specifically in the neighborhood of Golden Shores is that people are less likely to try to cut in to avoid the Collins traffic if the speed limit is so slow that it's the same as staying on Collins. So the issues are much bigger than just a study. I'm going to let Commissioner Viscara go, and then I think we kind of have consensus that we'd like to invite you back for a longer conversation. But please, Commissioner Viscara.
Thank you. Obviously, I missed the entire discussion, so I'm not going to bombard you with questions. I'll watch the video and hopefully attend the workshop. But one thing that I always like to highlight, and I don't know if this was mentioned, but that Sunny Isles Beach is the densest city in Florida and possibly number 2 in America. Mm-hmm. We have more people per square foot or whatever, however you measure it, than any other place in Florida. And that also adds to our special challenge, right? So we talked about before about the uniformity, and again, I'm sorry if this stuff has been discussed, but we also have to consider the special circumstances. And I think the fact that we are the densest is something that you need to take into account.
So with that,
finish with something.
Okay, just I'll let you go, and then I think we need to move on. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the 95% of the vehicles in 159th Street go to 33. 95% of the vehicles in Atlantic Isle, 27 miles per hour. 95% of the vehicles in North Bay Road, 33, right now. That is page 13, and what I gave you. 95% of the vehicles in 172nd go to 32. 95% of the vehicles in 174 go to 34 miles per hour. Right now, yes. When it's a 20 mile per hour street. Right. Okay, 95% of the vehicles in North Bay Road in another area goes to 34. 95% of the vehicles in Atlantic Boulevard, 31. 95% of the vehicles in 178th Street, 28 miles per hour. 95% in 183rd Street, 29 miles per hour. 95% in 186th Street, 30 miles per hour. 95% in 187, 27. 188, 30 miles per hour. Atlantic Boulevard, 29 miles per hour. 189th Street, 29 miles per hour. 189 other area, Terrace, 29, and so on.
But you're basically proving our point, in all honesty, because everybody, the average in the 95 percentile is 30 or above. We're recommending 25, which is well below that.
Right
the
now,
85 percentile, which is the majority of the people traveling, are traveling at an average speed of 25,
okay, so
not 20.
If we go by the 95, we should have tell you 30. would be the post speed.
Okay, so
was
let's give an
That's
example.
basically proving this concept.
Okay, so a very simple example, okay? So if you allow your teenage daughter to come back at home at 8 p.m. and she come back every night at 11, so maybe by the percentile you have to allow her to come every night at 10:30 p.m. because the limit that you are establishing is 8 p.m. to be home. But she's coming every day at 11
At that
p.m.
point, I'd have to take away her car or her phone, or I'd have some type of parental authority there, right?
Okay, which is the point. We cannot be right now congratulating like bad behavior. So right now we have 20 miles per hour. People is going over 30.
Right.
So what's going to happen when we establish that it's 25 miles per hour?
I will say this: we would be happy
Please.
to meet with your staff, the residents,
Wonderful.
in a public workshop.
Thank you.
It'll be our pleasure to do that. We're working towards a very technical approach to this item, and not only for this city but all the cities. That's why our recommendation here is a 25 at this point. But obviously, we're open to listen
Thank you.
and to hopefully come to an agreement. There are other traffic calming measures, like Mr. Anispleta
Right, and
suggested.
I think that that's the bigger conversation that we should have. What else could we do as a city to slow traffic down? So I think the city manager, the staff can work together with you to set something up that's going to be meaningful, where we can have a good, long conversation and include the residents to give their input, because at workshops, there is no public comment. And then perhaps even before that, all of us could submit additional questions that we really would like you to dig into, because you can hear there's a lot of passion on this dais, and people, rightfully so, want to make sure that our residents are as safe as possible.
I want to make a request to
And
all
we
of
don't
us.
roll over easy for the safety of our residents.
I want to make a request. I know that in the workshops, usually in discussion items, we don't have public input, but Ms. Kathy is here and she's been raising her hand, and I think I would like to make a motion, if it's necessary, to hear what she has to say.
So, because Kat and I have actually spoken about this, you called, I think I know what you're going to say. So we don't have public comment, and because you and I have discussed this, and I see that you're here especially for this, I would like you to come back when we have the longer conversation, but just for the record, I would like you just to say what your personal experience, just very, succinctly, please. We need to get you a mic, though. So, 1 second, we'll get one from media.
Does this come up?
But no, we're going to get one from media. But in the meantime, it's clear that we're going to set something up, and potentially even if you're amenable to it, have not just questions from us beforehand, questions from the public, so that we could have a good conversation, not sort of a back and forth kind of. And I would like to get some information about the other cities and how it's being managed. But Kat, please go ahead, and then we'll move on to the next item.
Hi, I just want to thank Commissioner Fabiola for inviting me, and I want to thank everyone else here for listening to me. So just briefly, I want to say a few things on behalf of why this shouldn't happen. As you can see, I'm a person with a disability. I'm very active in the community as a disability advocate, and I'm constantly, I'm sure you guys have seen me zipping around on the sidewalks, going all different places to advocate for our needs. And in 2 separate occasions, 8 years apart, I was, in the first situation, I actually was hit by a car. And the person got out of their car and said, "Sorry, you're really low to the ground, I didn't see you." Fast forward 8 years later, a few weeks ago, I'm coming back from the nail salon because I had to prepare for another event that I was going to, and the exact same thing happened at a different location at the municipality parking lot behind the Walgreens. A huge SUV was coming out like full force ahead and blaring music, and I'm like trying so hard to get away from the car, and he just kept on going and said the same exact thing to me. "Sorry, you're really low to the ground, I didn't see you." So whether I know you want to have a coordinates with all the other cities and everything, but please take into account the residents of Sunny Isles when you're trying to enforce this, because not only me having a disability, but also, you know, children on scooters and so forth, they're low to the ground as well. And that's not okay for people to just keep using that as an excuse to drive recklessly on these small streets that we have.
That's
So
definitely,
that's what I wanted to say.
there's
Thank
no
you, Kat.
excuse. There's no excuse for that, and I'm sorry that you'd have to go through that. I'll be honest, I'll say this, with regards to the scooters, with regards to the new forms of transportation that people are using, it is an issue throughout the county. Something that we're dealing with now. There are people that are using the sidewalks, you know, the scooters on a sidewalk, and that's an issue. But the scooters should be on the road, in all honesty. They need to be on the road. Just like a cyclist, just like those new cycles with battery power things on them, they're going 30 miles an hour.
Right.
You know, and that's a big issue. Disability, there's a lot of issues with respect to sidewalks and accessibility, and that's something that the Miami-Dade County understands, and we are working towards it slowly, little by little. But that is a major concern, especially for our mayor.
So,
And there
yeah.
are municipalities, I wanted to just to give you an idea. A lot of municipalities, what they also do, in addition to the traffic calming, agreement that they can install without the county approval, they ask developers, for example, when you have a developer coming in this corner, through the development process, they ask a developer to build off-site improvements that the municipality needs. So if you have identified, okay, I need a mid-block signal for pedestrian because it's a high, highly pedestrian location. So the municipality asks the developer to build it, like in lieu of fees or whatever the type of agreement that the zoning has with developers. So that's another tool that the municipality can use.
No, we are aware of that. We use it. So thank you. But like I said, we'll set something up. If you can please include, come really prepared with a lot of information so that we can have, everyone from a very different points of view ask questions and have a meaningful conversation. Perhaps, maybe it's not just us. Maybe everyone needs to go down to 20 miles per hour. So that's the bigger conversation as well. So if you wanted to say one more thing, I see you want to. So
sorry,
please, and then
Mayor.
we'll move on.
But you did mention something a little earlier. You said that you were going to prepare some questions for us. That would be great if we could come, already knowing some of those questions, some of those answers. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll do our best to make sure you have as many as possible. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mauricio?
But we don't roll over easy in Sunny Isles, just so
see
you
that.
know. Thank you.
Next item is 3B, discussion regarding the Government Center Annex.
Yes. Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission. As you know, we have been working on the design for the annex. It is currently out to bid. The bid opens at the end of this month. We are under a cone of silence, so outside of this meeting, you will not discuss it with anyone again. But I've invited Rick here to show you what the architectural design is and see what it is that we're planning to build.
Great,
So,
thank you.
Rick? Yes, it'll be.
Hello, Rick.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners, City staff. So we just wanted to show you our latest information on the annex, since we're hoping to get this on the March agenda for award and then start shortly after. Let's see which button works here. So this is basically the Tony Roma site layout of the building, with the offices and the cafe space up front. This is more of a perspective view off of Collins Ave of what it's going to look. This is looking from our building across. So you're looking at like the west side of the building in the back and the north side. We also have plans to do a covered walkway between the buildings after we're done with this, so that staff and residents can move between buildings without being exposed to the weather. But that'll be a separate project. This is the interior lobby as you enter the building. We have the reception area on the left here, seating areas for the residents that are coming in for permitting. This is as you enter the office space. This is the conference rooms and perimeter offices around it. And this just shows you some perspective views of what we're doing there. With some of the hallway areas, you can see some of the cubicle setups, some of the way the offices will be laid out within it. Keep in mind that some of this stuff, because it's renderings, it's not specific finishes to the product. The next thing we want to show you is a little kind of a fly-through of the building itself. So this will just progress, and you'll see you'll get an idea of how this is going to flow.
Can this structure support a second floor, have you discovered?
No.
Cannot.
So this is coming through the main entrance and the lobby area with the seating. Open windows for light, outside light. And as you come in, there's another office there, and then access way back to the main offices. And then we have the double conference rooms. And then we have perimeter office space around the outside of the building. We've got some different offices for the senior staff level. And we're going with glass walls for the openness and the open space. The partitions have glass tops, so there's some better viewing there. And this goes through, so on the right you have office space, on the left it's more inspector, plan review stuff. Then we have that was the call center area. This is kind of the corral layout of the inside of the office. This is going up towards the front where the bathrooms are going to be. This is some of the file space we're going to have. And then it comes around, and then you're exiting out the front again into the lobby. So that's what we're planning to build for you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to start with Commissioner Joseph, if you had any questions.
My only question was regarding having the building itself be more useful, but then Rick said that the pilings don't allow for a second floor.
Okay, Commissioner Stevenson. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, can you remind me of the max capacity for that building? Or the rendering that you just showed us?
I'm thinking we're in the 33 to 34 employee level.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that number in a while, so.
Yeah, I forgot too. I know we talked about
we're up
this
in that
before.
area. We've been making adjustments throughout, but we were up in that zone, 33 to 35 people probably.
But that building itself can hold more people if we need to expand, correct?
There's different things we could do.
You can't go up.
Huh?
You can't go up.
What do you mean we can't go
You
up?
can't add a story.
No, I understand that, but right now, what do we have? 35 people that we're gonna move there, correct?
No, we've basically space planned it for the employees plus additional staff that we're planning on hiring. So we should pretty much fill it up once we build it.
Okay.
But it will be at our maximum staffing level.
Our maximum
So
staffing
we're not
level.
anticipating needing more people after this.
Okay. But my question is, let's say 5 years, 10 years down the road, we need to hire more people. My question would be, if we could get the number on the max capacity for that structure.
Well, we
No,
can always reconfigure it to get whatever we need, so that would be part of it.
That's what I'm trying to.
Because you have to look
yeah.
at the employees, and then you have to look at what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to add 5 more offices, then that would be a major add. But if you wanted to add 5 plan reviewers or 5 inspectors, that's not as big an impact. So, and you also have to balance, in the future, you have to balance out with the electronics we're doing, how much space you need for each position and task they're doing. So
let's say right now, we're planning for 35 people, including the new hires, right? But if we wanted to go 5 years from now, we want to go to 42, that could be done, right?
yeah,
In
we'd
that
have to
space.
relook at the building and
Okay,
decide
that's
to
what I
do.
wanted to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's the improvements aren't, like the whole inside area is not really fixed with the partitioned office spaces, so there's flexibility there. There's always flexibility to modify the conference rooms.
Mm-hmm.
We would look at the area we're using for intake, the area we're looking for storage, and how the different operations are working at that time.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Commissioner Viscar?
Okay, so 2 things. I like the rendering. It's very helpful. I'm not a very visual person, so to be able to see that, it's nice. And I'd like to, probably I'll borrow it for the academy when you guys come down. And the other question is more in terms of the accreditation process. Is this like step 1 to getting the individual space? Is that step 1 for the accreditation, or are we undergoing other steps?
Rick is not involved in the accreditation process
Okay.
for the building
Can
department.
somebody else answer
I
that?
can speak up.
Dylan?
Please, go ahead.
Okay, so I've been here approximately 9 months, and I've been working on it almost for 9 months, and we're at like the final stage of having all the paperwork together. It'll be submitted, they'll review it, and then they're gonna come for a couple weeks and see how the building department functions. And we would like to have that accreditation before we move in.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
it's not step 1.
Mm-mm.
So that's good. That's
Yep.
good. Okay,
So there's a lot of processes, and we want to have that all in place, so when we move over, we're going to be fully functioning.
wonderful.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I have a question, perhaps it's for the city manager. And thank you for showing the rendering. I agree with Commissioner Viscar. It's very helpful. I understood from when we started these conversations that this was going to be really a state-of-the-art facility. And I'm not knocking the design, but it just looks very dated. Like, it looks very much like any other office. So is there going to be more to it? As far as a more streamlined and less having to sit in front of a window? Or are we looking at a very similar design to what we already have?
Well, I think what you're seeing is an overall schematic,
Okay,
but yes, it is going to be state-of-the-art by the
Yeah.
time that we're finished with it.
that was my
You'll
question.
be happy with it, yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Mauricio?
Next item is 3C, a smart code use and available features.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, there was a request to better understand what SmartGov users can see and do through, now that everything is digital permitting, what is available to the public, what is available to a permit holder or a property owner. So Paola Viera is here to walk you through it.
Thank you. I think this was a request by Commissioner Stuyvesant, I believe. Yeah, please.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners. It is a pleasure to be here this afternoon. I'm going to give you a demonstration of the permitting information that is available to the general public on our website. Again, this is access that people that do not have an account within the system have access to. So this is anyone who is not that doesn't have an account in the system. This is just the general access that they would have. So the first thing that they would have to do, they will visit our website at sibfl.gov. They will scroll down to the building permits. They click building permits, And right here they are in the building permitting page. They will scroll to where it says building permits online. Once they click building permits online, it will take them to our permitting portal. So once in the permitting portal, and I'm transferring to training, once they're in the permitting portal, if they have an account with us, they will go to here where it says My Portal. If they don't have an account, but they just want a general permitting information, they will just go here to the parcel search.
And for clarification,
Yes.
My Portal is for anyone that is doing any sort of work or submitted any permits,
Correct.
not
yes.
someone that has signed up for karate class.
Correct, yes.
Right, okay.
This is, so SmartGov was just recently acquired by Granicus, but we've been using SmartGov in the building department since 2013.
Okay,
It
go
was
ahead.
just recently purchased by Granicus. So when they see My Portal, is to it's a person that has an account, and it's an owner or a contractor that has an account with us to apply for permits.
Okay.
But what I'm showing you right now is the access that the general public, someone that doesn't have an account, has access to in the website.
Okay.
Okay, so once they're here and they click on parcel information, they start typing the address or the owner name. So I'm gonna start typing. So if you click 187, it starts populating the addresses that we have with that start with that. So I'm gonna click on in the government center. So here, once they're in that address and you click that address, it gives you basic parcel information. Right here, this information, some of the information comes from the property appraiser's office. Here on the right, you'll see the number of applications that they have for this parcel. Like in this example, they have 11 pending applications, 15 issued applications, and 39 closed. And then for the customer also has the opportunity to select the language that they want. When you click on it, it translates everything into the language that they wish to see the information on. If they click here on applications, they will take them to the list of permit applications that they have in the system. Again, they can scroll down and they can see all the permit applications that have been submitted to the building department. So if anyone has a question to whether someone has a permit or doesn't have a permit, has an application with the building department, or they don't have an application with the building department, by clicking the address, if they don't see anything, it means that nothing has been submitted to the building department. But here, so if you see here in the section where it says application, this is an example. They see the permit number. It says B202538. It gives them the type of permit. It gives them the status of the permit. In this case, this first permit says awaiting corrections from applicant. And it tells them when the application was submitted to us. In this case, this one was submitted 1/10/2025. And it also gives them a project description. So like this first example says installation of 9 impact windows and 1 door. And there are other statuses, that an application could be at the state of ready to issue. Like, for instance, in this case, this application is ready to issue, and we're just awaiting payment from the applicant, or the application is active. And it will tell you, if it's active, it will tell you when the permit was issued. So it will give you a submitted date and an issued date. And for example, this next permit, it will say that the permit is closed, and it will give you the date that the permit was closed.
And if you press on the number?
Yes, so if you press on the number, it gives you, again, this is for the general public, not for the person with an account. In this case, it gives them the current fees. These fees have not been paid, so it gives them that information here on the right-hand side. It tells them the information on the status of the permit, the permit number, and then they also have contact information, like the applicant who submitted the application, and if we have any information, the ownership information is also there.
But why cannot we see the application and all the annex to the application? Because that is available.
We're getting to that.
Oh.
Yeah, I just want her to show you
Okay,
all
okay.
now what we have available,
Perfect,
and then
thank
I'll tell you what we can do.
Thank you, thank
Okay.
you.
So if the person wants to go back to the parcel information and they can also print this information. So if you want to print the list of permits for that parcel, you have that capability also to print that information. And I'm gonna pass it to Stan. This is, again, this is general information that is given to the public that doesn't have anything, any account with us set up in the system.
So let me ask you a question, one second, Commissioner. This is available right now?
Yes.
Okay, because and you know this, I get calls where people ask what's going on with my permit, and I'm always thinking, like, why is it such a big mystery? So they can go in and it will tell them, even without a portal.
Correct.
They would know that it has been paid or something along
Yes.
those lines. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Mr. City Manager, please go ahead.
But before, one
Sure,
small
go ahead.
question about when you put a parcel number, what about the code enforcement violations or whatever associated to that parcel?
I work in the building department. My apologies. I'm very familiar with the permitting side of it, so I'm prepared to give you information on permitting.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Mr. City Manager.
Okay, just to answer the question, you guys can have a seat.
Thank
you. Just to answer the question, for code enforcement, we do not have that availability yet online. We're working on that. Code enforcement is now separate from the SmartGov system. So we're looking at the available, I guess, additional software applications that would link code enforcement. So right now, code is not available online. So what we wanted to show you was, I asked Paola and Dylan to give you an overview of what the public can see now, because I've heard these same questions before. I want to check an address. You can put an address in our system now. You can pull up ownership information, any of the pending applications, and I asked Paola to drill down a little bit more so you can see some specifics. So as part of that research, we looked at other cities and what they can and what they don't provide. So one of the issues that came up was I asked them to find out the availability of having people's plans available online. That is not an option for other cities that we checked with. Now, I know we also spoke about Durham in the past. Durham does have a company that they contract with that provides information, but that's for exterior, not for interior. So the system does have the capability of providing additional information, like the Commissioner asked, in terms of the applicant plans and very specific details of, let's say, inspection results, for example, whether it passed or failed and why. The portal that Paola mentioned, if you are an owner, for those of you that have pulled permits before, the owner and the contractor has access to the portal, which provides all of the detail that you've referenced in the past, which is plans, inspection results, when things are submitted, when they're due. Those specific details are only available to the owner or contractor.
And before I give the floor, one second, before I give the floor to Commissioner Stevison, how far back does this go? The historical information, how far back is the information kept?
So 2013 is when we started using SmartGov.
Okay.
You will find information prior to that because we migrated information. It might not be entirely all the information that we see on our side in the office software, but the customer could see information from 2013 on.
And I asked this question in just a hypothetical, if someone is going to buy an apartment and they want to make sure that whatever work was done there was actually permitted, they can only see it now back to 2013. In other words,
correct.
Please.
So what they see, it's a 2013 on information. However, we have the service, and because this building department, since the building department started in 1998, has gone through several changes in softwares. Not everything gets migrated when we get a new software. So we have to do a search, a manual search in older systems to be able to provide.
But it's there somewhere.
Correct.
Going back to 98.
Correct.
Anything prior to 98 is at the county.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Stuyvesant, you have the floor.
Okay, so thank you for the presentation. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. However, if possible, I would like to have a presentation from SmartGov, from the vendor, to show what is it that they have the ability to provide, okay? So anyway, they're vendors already, so there is not a conflict. Like you were saying, Stan, if you have an account and you are the owner, you actually have the capability to see everything, correct? You can see the plans, you can see the application, the inspections, and the results.
Yes.
Correct, okay. So the capability is there. It's just that we are not allowing the public in general to have access to it. However, if we go to Mauricio and we do a public request for that parcel number or for that specific unit or whatever, I believe Mauricio, because it's public record, am I correct? Yes. So we'll have to present it, or not?
It is for the most part, but Mauricio also does a review. So if I try to get building plans for the school here, I can't get that. That's protected under Florida statutes. So there's a human filter there that's able to decipher whether certain building plans or things that are maybe exempted do not get out.
Yeah, I know the school district has their own building department. So yeah, and for safety reasons also, they cannot give it. But other than the school, any parcel, let's say I wanna buy the house next door to me, and I go and I do a public record request about all the applications, plans, inspections, etc. Will that be provided to me? That's my question.
Again, it depends on, there's a variety of exemptions that may apply. If it's a former police officer or something like that, no. There's certain things that may apply, so.
But generally, if it's just,
Generally, from a
if
public
Commissioner
record
Stuyvesant wanted to
standpoint,
buy Jerry Joseph's house, could she get all the information?
generally, yes,
Okay.
depending
Okay,
again on
perfect.
if
So
there's any
again,
exemption.
Okay.
the software has the capability. The information is subject to a public record request. Also, that's what I want to have the presentation or have the ability to speak to the people of SmartGov, because I know that if you type the folio number also, it will give you all the information of that specific unit, because every unit has a one specific folio number, like a tax ID, social security, etc. I hope that I'm wrong, but I believe they should have the capability to put anything and everything associated to the folio number, meaning that any code enforcement violation that the house had before or active should be there. And that is a request that I've been having continuously also. There is a building in the east side that after that article in the newspaper, people contact me like crazy saying, oh, I see cracks in here, I see cracks in there, etc. They've been requesting the building department to go and do inspections, etc. And they want to know if there is something open, like a code enforcement violation, etc. And they have to go through Mauricio to find that, which we are paying for this software. And the software has the capability, when you put the folio number, of seeing anything and everything associated, other than one is not breaking any law, that we have it right now. My question is why we are not providing that access to the public when they can access to a public record request.
Go ahead.
Mayor, I think at the end of the day, we don't need to have SmartGov come in and do any presentation. We already know the system and what it can provide. It can provide the additional things that you suggested, with the exception of code enforcement. Code enforcement is not part of our software package that we have for SmartGov. So code enforcement would have to be integrated for us to allow that. We can, but it's not a best practice, so we don't. So in the end of the day, it's a philosophical discussion for you all to direct me as to what you want to have available. I will tell you that of all of the other places we check, they do not provide plans to people to review. They also do not, many of them do not provide specific inspection results. Many of them provide the general overview that we do. And I have a great concern in providing that information for our property owners, for people to have the ease of sitting at home looking through their neighbors' records, for lack of a better way of explaining.
Okay.
But I leave that up to you.
All right, I'm going to give someone else an opportunity. Vice Mayor, you have the floor.
No, I don't have any questions.
No? Commissioner Viscara?
I agree with the concerns the city manager just expressed.
Okay. Commissioner Joseph?
For me, I would like to see code enforcement, you know, what complaints there are, and any fees that might be opened. If you're purchasing a property, that should be something that's on the record.
And I just want to clarify, whenever someone, because we do process these almost daily. So if somebody's purchasing a property, in the due diligence from the title company, they will send us typically 3 letters. One request is for any pending or open code violations. That's number 1. Number 2, any pending, open, and closed building permits. And then number 3 is typically any zoning, open, or pending issues. So in terms of that diligence now, that is part of the title company's process.
Okay.
Okay, so if I may, I continue want to see what SmartGov wants to see, what want the capabilities. I think it doesn't make any sense that we have to approve to buy the software from them, but we cannot hear from them what is the product that we are buying. And it's nothing about trust. I trust you guys fully. But again, it's like you guys are telling me, buy this car, but you're not telling me if it's 2 doors, 4 doors, 6 doors, just give me the check and we'll give you the car. I don't like that. I think that is a lack of transparency. And then it brings a lot of questions. So I don't see what is the secrecy about SmartGov. If they're not going to give us a presentation, I will contact them directly. And then I guess I have to bring another discussion item and bring what I find out about them or from them. I don't believe I need to do that, and that is what you guys are here to do. So again, I would like to have a presentation from SmartGov. I want to see if we are approving the money that we're spending, which is substantial, like a big amount of money. I want to know what is it that we are buying? What is the secrecy? And the other thing that is against transparency is that if it's subject to a public record request, should be available for the people. Like I understand, but some of the arguments, like if you put almost any personal number right now or any property address, you can find the plans online, because they put them online when they are being for sale. So I just don't understand what is that we're trying to protect here. And as always, we are going to take people's rights, because maybe there is somebody, like you say, in the basement that is going to be using that for bad. I think we have a lot of experience here that there is a lot of people which they don't need to have even the facts to do misinformation and disinformation. So I just don't see the logic that we are paying for that. The people have the right to have that access, and we are choosing not to give them the right to do it, to have it.
Before you go on, I want to say that on the record, I do agree with Commissioner Viscara and following the manager's recommendation, only because I don't see a big value in providing all that information. I've never been contacted, asked for it, and I do think that if it's available and somebody needs it, they can get it fairly easily. I don't think that it's necessarily someone sitting in a basement doing anything nefarious. I just think that there's a privacy issue and there's an expectation of privacy. With your question of what the application provides, is that something, Mr. City Manager, you can just give us a list of, short of having to get a presentation? I don't understand what the request for the presentation is versus what we currently have.
Well, that's kind of my point. I've showed you what is available to the public now. So is there something else you would like to see that we don't provide?
I think
and that's part of it. The second part of it is, I think I shared that it's a best practice amongst building departments to share the information that we have. In terms of SmartGov, They're not going to tell you anything more than what I'm telling you now, which is that, yes, there are capabilities of providing additional information. I'm telling you that this is what I feel is a best practice for us to provide. If you want something different, you don't need to talk to SmartGov. You can just tell me what that is, and we can provide it. I'm just recommending against providing anything more than we already do.
But the thing is that we don't even know what to request from you because we don't have in front of us what are the products that what they're capable of. So we don't have a menu of options of what is it that they can do. So, which is my point. I don't understand if we have to approve to pay for it. If we are buying the product on behalf of the people, why can we not see what is it that we are buying?
I think that the city manager can provide that, but I'd like to also just get the opinion of the city attorney as to best practices, and then I think that Vice Mayor changed his mind and would like to.
Yeah, I'd like to
Okay,
say
so let's hear from the attorney first, please.
Well, from a legal standpoint, the only thing that stands out is, again, some of the concern with not so much privacy, but unfortunately, as an attorney, I live in dark places and look at scenarios, differently. But especially with the larger structures, like let's say an Aquilina or a porch building, if you have somebody that can peruse the building plans at their leisure from home, ingress, egress, water supply. I want to set fire to that building. I know exactly where all the water lines are, what I need to do. It's just those types of things. Is it something that somebody can come knocking on your door here and try to get? Potentially, but just to have it that available at anybody's disposal may be an issue. And then the only other thing is, I don't know from a capability standpoint, to the extent that plans are available, that if there are exempted plans or exempted locations, whether it's a daycare, whether it's that within a particular facility or whatever it may be, that I don't know that our systems would be able to recognize that as an exemption.
Okay, Vice Mayor.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. For security reasons, better safe than sorry. You never know nowadays what could happen. And regarding SmartGov, I think that if we wanted to have, let's say, a lunch and learn from SmartGov, a Zoom lunch and learn, perhaps each of us can have the ability to have a Zoom where they could just tell us about the software. Maybe I don't want one, but maybe that should be the decision of each of the commissioners. I'm not interested personally, but if I wanted to, I'd like to have that choice.
Commissioner Viscar, did you want to add something?
I just think that there's transparency, but there's limits to that. Because then you go into irresponsible. And I think we need to err on the side of caution.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Mr. Joseph, did you want anything to add?
No, I agree that there are certain security issues that have to be considered. We live in a crazy world these days, and I believe we have to caution on the side for security.
Yes, sir. And that's what I do with all of you. I know I've had discussions with you where you may have asked me for a request for something, and I've asked you to do a public records request. So I feel from my perspective as a manager, I'm ultimately looking out for the safety of our residents. I'm very concerned with sharing any of your or our residents' information. So in terms of doing this, I wanted the presentation for the commissioner to show and explain that yes, SmartGov does have additional capabilities, but in terms of trying to streamline what it is you're looking for from me, if there's something that you didn't see that Paola presented that you would like to see, if you share with me, then I'm sure I can make that happen. I'm just not aware of anything in addition to what you've already seen that members of the public would need, other than going through the process, which would be through the city clerk.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Mauricio, next item.
Next item is 3E, discussion regarding adult use of the spot.
Yes.
Commissioner Joseph, this is
Okay,
your item.
so this is my item, and I've had discussions with the city manager and assistant city manager for many months, in discussing the use of the spot for morning hours. We have many residents in Golden Shores, on the north side of the city, and throughout the city. And considering that the spot has been done up so nicely and well and suited for, as a meeting place for adults in the mornings, and I was told that it would just require one supervisory person, that we could have this meeting place for our residents to get together, to play board games, to watch the news, have coffee. So I believe that that's something for consideration, and I'm asking that that be allowed. I know in the summer we have the use for all hours throughout the day. So this would basically be for adult resident use from January till May 31st.
If I can just give an overview, this was Commissioner Stuyvesant's initiative to create the teen center. And so our whole sole focus has been on building a space, strictly for our teens and their use primarily and only. So in terms of the adult programming, or the senior programming, if you will, we have a lot of that programming that takes place at Gateway. So I think two parts of this. First would be, we don't have the available staffing, so we would need to...
Only one person I was told that it would need.
We would need some staffing there, and then I don't want to compete with our existing programs at Gateway, and then I guess followed by, is this something that the commission is amenable to doing? I'm consistently, I'd say on a weekly basis, contacted by people asking me to rent space there, which it's been designated as our teen center, so I have expressed to them that that's not permissible to rent the space. And other people wanting to hold some sort of service there.
Yes, I understand that, but that's not the case.
Correct.
That's not my
I'm just telling you the
reasoning.
feedback from what I've heard. But ultimately, if you all discuss it and direct us to do something along those lines, then we will.
Okay, if I could just add one thing, please.
Please, go ahead.
Yes, so we have this building that is set up. It has a ping pong table, it has tables for board games for adults. It could be used for chess, checkers in the morning. You have televisions for people to relax and watch the news as a gathering spot. There's no, I'm not asking for cooking classes or exercise classes. It's for the building to be used the way it is, with just one supervisory person to watch that if you have coffee for people, that they don't end up taking all of these coffee pods home like we had at Gateway, unfortunately. But so that's basically, it's just a matter of one supervisory person, which I understand that's possible, and for just to open the doors on a building that is already being air conditioned, just for people to walk in as a gathering place until it's used at, if it's opens up for teens at 1 o'clock, so to close it at 12. So from 9 to 12, 3 hours in the morning for public use of it for adults. That would be something that I've had so many hundreds of people asking me for since the building opened. And there's no loss to the city except for one supervisory person, and it would be to the delight of every resident.
Okay, did anyone speak yet? Commissioner Viscar, did you want to add anything or have any questions?
Yeah, I don't like it. We do have a designated teen space. I mean, the designated teen space is something we've been talking about since we were figuring out what to do with Gateway. Originally, those conversations like, well, maybe we'll put the seniors here, we'll put the teens there. The seniors got their space, it's beautiful, and then the teens were still left out, and finally we were able to get the spot. I'm very happy with the spot and the way that it is. So, I know it's not a huge imposition, but Gateway is designed for that. If it's a matter of checkers and we don't have checkers in Gateway, we can buy a checkers board or whatever. And if there's other things that are not being provided in Gateway, we can provide that at Gateway, which is properly staffed, and have the seniors in their space and leave the teen space for the teens.
But this is,
It's
excuse
not,
me,
it's
but
not a distance issue. It's like, well, you know, we've had this conversation before up
no,
here. Yes, we have. And
this is,
yes, we've had it, maybe not in this detail, but we've had it. And I recall you saying, oh, it's all the way, you know, over there. It's Sunny Isles Beach. Nothing is all the way over there. We're not that big. So it's not a huge effort to go, even if you're at one end of the city, Gateway is in the middle. It's not a huge effort to get over there if it's, you know, we have shuttles, we have options.
but this is
I
a building
think we
that's
need
sitting
to-
vacant.
Commissioner Viscar has the floor. Let her speak,
I think we
please.
need to leave it alone. Leave it alone and encourage these people who would like to be there in the morning to go to Gateway, which
They-
is
they will never go
created
to
for
Gateway.
them.
This is not,
Commissioner
This
Joseph,
is-
let everyone
No,
else speak
I'm
first.
done. I mean,
Okay,
I don't
Vice-
support the idea.
Vice Mayor?
Yeah, so question, what are the current times for the spot?
3 to 8.
3 to 8, okay.
I'm looking at Colin.
Mhm.
Friday is different. 3 to 7.
Current hours of the spot are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 to 7:30. Fridays we're open till 9.
Okay, thank you.
Friday open till 9, okay. I mean, so obviously, you know, the space is there. The times could work, okay? My question would be, let's say, you know, let's imagine if we can make this work. My question would be, is the building, because the building's been designed for teens, would it be able to house seniors or adult people, you know? And my problem would be, are we gonna have to have two types of setups, one in the morning and one in the afternoon for teens? I mean, from a implementation standpoint, is it gonna work? Are the seniors gonna get to that? I mean, I'm open to it, Jerry, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to picture once this is implemented. Are they gonna get to a building where they're gonna be sitting around and they're not gonna play, you know, Xbox, or they're not gonna play PlayStation, and everything is designed around teens? And I think that needs to be paramount, because the spot is for teens. Now, if we wanted to use it, you know, have a double use for it, it's fine, but we need to keep in mind, one is staffing, and the other one is it needs to be designed so the functionality can serve what you're trying to propose.
so I've
Mhm.
had adults, residents go over there. They see the setup. It has tables, which are tables large enough for game boards, which is all these residents are looking for, and a meeting place to meet, chat. You have the televisions, the video that's there. You can watch television? Yes, okay. So I have hundreds of people that not only just to walk over, okay, from the entire north end of the city. You have a building that's vacant until 3 in the afternoon, that you have air conditioning running, okay? The air conditioning still runs, correct? Yes. Okay, so to go meet in the morning until whatever hour you say, one person to supervise that there's no abuse, okay? These are adults with hopefully better behavior than the kids, so there's no thought that there's going to be any type of stealing or missing equipment or anything. So it's just, I have residents asking for use of the space, not just for getting together, a meeting place, no prayers, no anything like Stan has been approached for. This is just residents to enjoy the space as is, to meet and enjoy. Here, you have a ping pong table. I don't care how old you are.
Yeah.
Ping pong is ping pong, okay? You have tables set up for board games, okay? If they're not board games there, then people can bring their own board games and play with their friends, okay? Either Mahjong or, Pinochle or whatever, that they want to play. And it's just a meeting place that is vacant until now. I understood it was 1, but now I understand it's 3. So it even makes more sense to have a vacant building that, and I understand it's mostly set up for teens, but there's no additional setup required. You have the couches that residents can talk and watch television if they desire, to play board games, to have coffee and sit and speak with their friends, play ping pong, and you have a usable building for the entire day
Commissioner Stuyvesant?
that we're paying for anyway.
So I see where you're coming from.
And we've had that request from hundreds of people.
I have not had that request, not from one person.
Well, maybe you haven't asked.
So I see what you're saying, because it is much more convenient to have something on the north side. But I also see what Commissioner Viscara is saying, and you pointed out, Vice Mayor, if I start going to a facility that's made for teens, and it's normalized that it's also for adults, I'm going to start as an adult saying, well, wait a second, this couch is kind of low and it's not very comfortable. Why don't we add something that's going to be more suitable for me? It's natural. You're going to naturally want to have things that are more suitable for you. If anything that this discussion has really brought to light is, I don't know why we're not open on the weekends for the teens, because it seems like that's even more important, but that's not part of this discussion, I know. So I'm not decided on this, really. I lean more towards Gateway was built for the seniors, for the adults. We've been very, very clear that we do not want to have teens, children anywhere at Gateway. I'd like to have this as their space. If anything, I'd like to just even add to the time that they have it available.
But you understand, until 3 o'clock, the building is vacant.
Right. What I'm saying is that maybe it should be opened up earlier because we have high school students that get home much sooner.
You have the kids that skip school too,
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to say. So
I think if Gateway was not an alternative, I would say, okay, let's maximize the use of the space. But Gateway is there.
What is Gateway? You have an exercise room, and then you have...
Well,
okay.
perhaps we should add to Gateway then.
That's the point. If we need, it's for that population. If there's things that's missing, if a ping pong table is what seniors are asking for, we can put that in Gateway. If checkers is what's missing, we can put that in Gateway and respect the space of the teens, even though I know they're not there in the morning, but I hadn't even thought about the furniture. I just feel it took us so long to get something just for the teens. And Gateway is really, you have the set programming, but it has the tables. We have the big room. The tables are there. There's a TV there.
These are different
the coffee
programs
is
at
already
Gateway.
there.
We're not asking for
but you're not asking for
programs.
programming, is my
That's
point. You're not asking for programming. You're asking for sitting around and board games and coffee. Those tables exist at Gateway. The coffee exists at Gateway. The TV.
But you're forcing people from the north to, when they can walk to this
Forcing anybody.
area.
They can go on the shuttle and
But
they can
why
drive
is
there.
that?
And
But
it's a
that's
very short drive.
Not to be...
Commissioner
not-
Joseph, let
that's
her
just
finish, please.
narrow-minded for the residents. This is, you're not being open-minded for residents.
I
think I've made my point.
You have. Vice Mayor, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'd like to leverage that space more, because it'll be available. I mean, it'll be empty in the morning until 2:30, 3 p.m. And I'd like to see that. I'm open to it. But my question is, okay, will it work, right? How can we make it work? So if we want to get this done, we'll have to continue discussions because, it's been set up for teens, and we'll have to see how it could have that dual role,
Why
let's
don't
say.
you try and see what the response is?
No, but I think we need to give it more thought, is what I'm trying to say, and see how we could, because you just don't want to have a space where maybe some of the older folks in the city will be like, you know what, this is really not doing anything for me.
So then
It's
we'll-
not catered to
then-
me.
So then we discontinue it.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're gonna do it, let's think about it, and if we wanna have that dual role, I'm open to it, is what I'm trying to say, but we need to be very careful. I don't think it's just, let's open the door in the morning, it's gonna be for older people, and in the afternoon it's gonna be for teens. Then what's gonna happen if we try to kick out the older people because the teens are coming in and they say, well, I'm a resident, I pay taxes.
They know their hours.
So we need to be, there's a lot of things.
I think that what the vice mayor is saying is that it's not as simple,
But it is.
potential, but we don't, we
We
bel-
have set
but
out
what
every- we
we're,
have
what we're trying to say
everything
is
in
that
this
it
life
isn't.
has set
So how
hours.
about this? Because the spirit of your request is heard. I understand what you're saying. So perhaps there is a consensus that the staff can look at, what else could we be doing at Gateway that we're not? And then if we were to open up the spot for any amount of time for adults, would you recommend that? And if you did recommend that, what is it that you would need? Especially now talking more, I'm leaning really not to, but,
You live in Golden Shores. These are
well,
your residents as well.
all the residents
not
are
only
my
me. I
residents.
understand, yes.
And really, if
But
anything, I don't
I've
want to,
had
wait,
hundreds of
let me finish,
requests.
please. Let me finish. The point is that this is something that should be available to everyone, not just Golden Shores, obviously.
No,
So
but
wait a
I'm
second.
talking about
Wait
the
a
north
second.
end of the city.
Stop.
Walking.
What Vice Mayor is saying that I agree with, you have to take into consideration what everybody would want. And once you open that door to the adults can use it, someone from somewhere else in the city may say, well, wait a second, I'd like to be able to do yoga here, or the point is that it's not that simple.
But it's not, that is
I
not
understand.
available there.
I understand that.
That's available
I
at
understand
Gateway,
that, but
so you
once
go to Gateway.
Yes, I know that. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. All right.
So, Fabiola, do you have any,
No, I don't have anything.
so you're
Okay.
not, so what is your feeling on allowing it or not?
I see no problem
Well,
being
then,
used by everybody.
please. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, actually, I brought this up to have it move forward, not to have it just die.
Well, it's not dying.
So what is happening? How are we moving forward with it?
So we are asking the staff to come up with a recommendation of what they think we can do to make this happen or not happen. And if it did, what would be required?
Okay, so is this going to go on for 6 months, or what is the time frame?
For the recommendation? How much
Yes,
time
to have an
would you need,
answer as
Susan?
to whether
Can I
it moves
just add,
forward?
so, a budget amendment would be required, and that's 2 readings. So at best, if we have a recommendation to move this forward, we could have 2 readings, one in March and one in April, and then would have to try to get the staffing up to be able to do that. It's not just one supervisor. I need janitorial to go in and clean and reset
Correct.
the room,
Okay.
which we don't have at that time of day currently. So we would have to take all that into consideration. Based on that timing, I would recommend that if this is going to move forward, it would be in September after summer camp, because it's not just summer camp. We have to go in and set up, and
Right.
there's special things that get done in advance, both at Pelican and there, to prepare for summer camp. So based on the timing with 2 budget readings,
But I think that's what,
September would be the
that's the request,
soonest.
is to just put together a memo that talks about everything that you've just said and what a timeline would look like, and the sort of the pros and cons, and you've heard everybody's statements, sort of incorporate that, please.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next item is yours, Commissioner Joseph.
Yes, okay. So we've had a request for a presentation by Elga Barami, and this is regarding the banning of plastics in the city. And she has a presentation that I would like to have her come up and present.
Mayor, a couple things. I don't think we allow presentations. And 2, you're preempted by Florida law from banning any sort of plastics.
Well,
You're completely
okay.
preempted.
Well, this is
Okay.
as a, okay. So,
Hold on a second. I know what you're trying to do, and I appreciate that. And we have someone in the audience that's been waiting, and normally I don't allow presentations, but I will allow you to please come up and speak, and then I would like to just hear from the city attorney so you have an understanding of our, although our position, our personal position may be one, what we can and cannot do is another, but please come up.
thank you. Appreciate it.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, and fellow residents of Sunny Isles Beach. Thank you for your time here today. My name is Elika Barami, and I'm here today along with Dr. Joseph Solek because we believe in a cleaner, more sustainable future for our city. Plastic pollution, as you know, is a problem, and we can no longer ignore it. Our beautiful beaches, parks, and waterways are constantly littered with plastic waste, especially plastic bags, which harm marine life, pollute our environment, and contribute to the growing global crisis of plastic pollution. This is an issue I have been passionate about for a long time. As a student at Mass at FIU, I've taken action by launching the Ban the Plastic initiative at my school, where I'm working to eliminate plastic trash bags, plastic IDs, and plastic ID covers. But I know this problem extends far beyond my school. That's why I'm here today, to ask for your support in making Sunny Isles Beach a leader in sustainability. Other places, such as Canada and several countries in Europe, have already taken steps to ban plastic bags and replace them with biodegradable or reusable alternatives. These are a couple of samples brought by Dr. Solek. This is from Shoppers Drug Mart. We have Walmart. This is Canada Store and Dollarama as well. So if they can do it, why can't we? By switching to sustainable options, we can protect our environment while still providing convenient solutions for businesses and residents. I am fully aware of the legal challenges Florida has when it comes to banning plastic bags, but I am willing to take that fight on. With the support of Vice Mayor Lama and Commissioner Joseph, I have already reached out to organizations like the Surf Rider Foundation to explore ways to move forward. However, I cannot do this alone. I need the support of this community, our local leaders, business owners, and residents to make meaningful change. This fight isn't just about today, it's about the future. It's about the next generation, the children growing up in Sunny Isles Beach who deserve clean parks, healthy oceans, and a city that prioritizes their well-being and convenience. If we continue down this path of excessive plastic waste, they will be the ones dealing with the consequences. They will be the ones swimming in polluted waters and watching wildlife suffer because of choices we made today. We owe it to them to do better. That is why I am here, standing before you, asking for your guidance and your support. As leaders, decision makers, and members of this community, you have the power to make real change. I may be young, but I am determined. I am ready to fight for a plastic-free future, but I cannot do it alone. I need you, your experience, your wisdom, and your willingness to take this issue seriously. We have an opportunity to set an example for other cities in Florida. Let's work together to reduce plastic waste, protect our environment, and keep Sunny Isles Beach beautiful for generations to come. I am committed to this cause, but I cannot do it alone. I need your help. I ask you, our city, leaders, residents, and business owners to stand with me in this fight. Let's make Sunny Isles Beach a city that leads by example, a city that protects its environment for the children who will inherit it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really well said.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Elika. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Joseph,
So-
do you want to add anything to that?
Well, I think in support, we could
You could have a seat. Thank you.
We could draft a resolution if, depending upon how the commission feels about plastics in our environment.
Okay.
So I'll throw it up to the commission.
I'd like to hear from the city attorney, because I think we've had this conversation in past years, and how we, personally feel about this as well.
Yeah, local governments have been trying this since, I think, 2008, and we're still preempted by the state from enacting any regulations, any rules, any policies with regards to plastic bags in particular, but also other types of containers that are made out of single-use plastics.
Well,
So
I
we're
know
still
unfortunately
preempted.
President Trump is now, he said he's back on plastic straws.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
Yeah.
Now, as you know, as you've done with polystyrene and certain other things, on city property or by city vendors, you can certainly do that, which you've already done with
We've done that, right.
straws and things of that. So you can do that from a non-regulatory standpoint, but from a regulatory standpoint, unfortunately, and many cities have tried, including beachfront communities, but so far the Florida legislature hasn't budged.
Yeah, I can say that when this conversation started getting more steam, the idea was to incentivize the bigger businesses like and stores like Publix and Milam's, and they have done extra. I know that they recycle their bags. I personally, I've said this many times, I take paper with me or reusable bags. I take this very seriously.
Costco bags, or not to knock a, not
But
to,
whichever,
yeah.
the point is that
Large
to the
bags.
attorney's point, it's something that we cannot regulate.
right.
However, I would be very supportive of helping you, get the attention of anyone at the state level. What our Senator Pizzo is actual resident here. This is something that I'm sure, would be very happy to speak to you about it in a really frank way so that you're not spinning your wheels. But I love your enthusiasm. You're a really great speaker. It's really nice to have someone like you representing Sunny Isles Beach at Mass. But I'd like to hear from the rest of the commission. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we're dependent on the decisions from the state, and it's been tried before. So this is a long-term fight. I think that talking to different organizations that have lobbyists in Tallahassee that can put that pressure, and obviously you could count on me and on us to put that pressure on the state legislature. Also, we'll need to recruit our representatives for this area, state senator and our representative, House of Representatives representative, to be able to help us navigate this. So definitely, we appreciate you being here and your efforts. It is a great effort because, we need to take care of our environment. So yeah, this is just the start because it's been tried for a long time and we got to keep trying until it's done. So yeah, you could count on me.
Commissioner Viscara? Yeah.
I just want to commend you. It takes courage to come up here, and no matter how much you practice or how many times you said it in other places, it's always it always takes courage to stand up and speak publicly, and certainly about things that are important to you. The city has engaged in these conversations before. In fact, we have Exhibit A here. We have our ecological, our e-committed, and we reuse our cups. It's always our same cups. It has our names on it. In our kitchens, we have the styrofoam. We're not supposed to have styrofoam. Like in terms of what the city purchases, we've taken that step. But yes, unfortunately, like the word of the day is preemption, and the higher ups have already blocked us on some of that. That's not to say that it's not worth fighting. And I think you're being offered. You're gonna find nothing but support. So part of the civic engagement homework is you've already done it. Reach out and we all know different people. We all have different contacts, and however we can be of help, I think you'll find it here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Elika, congratulations, Mama too. She graduated with my son, with Sebastian, and I seen her growing, and I'm so proud to see you talking on behalf of all the young. However, next year, you're going to be voting age. And that means you have a lot of power in the young generation to go when the politicians come asking for your vote, ask them point blank, what are you going to do about this? So that next year, when there is going to be a county commission election, there is going to be also our state representative election and many other elections, including for the governor of the state of Florida. So it's good for you to go with the young people, and like everybody said, you're an amazing speaker, and I know you're a leader between the people in your age, and go and tell them this is what we want, and basically push them to go into that direction. So you do have that power, because every one of all elected officials that we are here, we got elected by the people. So that's one of the powers that you do have. And it's true that America, we are behind places like Canada and also like Europe. I just came from Europe. I've spent some time there. And you are just programmed that if you are going to the supermarket or just go out in general, you have your own little bags inside your bag. So whenever you're coming back, you can put it there. So they don't even offer many places, just like Costco, that they don't even offer a plastic bag, but you can buy from them. So it's a culture thing, and I think we can move in the right direction with people like you being leaders of that movement. And like I said, you know, you have the power once you can vote, and you can hold those politicians accountable if they promise one thing and they do the opposite. Anything I can do to help, let me know, and I'll be there for you. Anything, you know, at any point, any time. And I take it a little step forward. I use metal. You know, metal water bottles, a big one because I like to drink a lot of water. And we can all do our little bit, and maybe we can start doing more in our city, and anything legal or that the staff can recommend. Thank you for pushing us in that direction. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And you want to close on your item, Commissioner
thank you.
Joseph?
So, Elica, you've done a great job, but I just want to tell you that once you get into the science of plastics and all, there's so much more, and there are so many studies on how plastic cans are lined with plastics, and how all of our foods have plastics leaching into them. Even these plastic cups, as time goes on, plastic is leaching into the water that we're drinking. These plastic bottles that we're drinking water from, our body is just, there was a study last week, I believe, that our kidneys and all have plastic residue that they're discovering. So, and getting into fish brains from plastics in the ocean, and it's just, we're eating it, and we're actually killing ourselves with these plastics. So,
Yep. Thank you.
if we don't do something over time, it's just going to accumulate more and more.
Yep.
So thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you very much. Okay, I think that was our last. There's no public comment. No comment. No comment. You come at 6:30. Okay. Okay. No, not now. Thank you. City Clerk.
There's nothing else.
Okay, with that adjourned, please come back at 6:30, but if you want to tell us something right now after this meeting, you can. Okay.